That was a scene everywhere last night. U.S. fans going crazy. Welcome back to the Ultimate Seattle Sports Show. U.S. Taking out Bosnia. They will now face Belgium in the round of 16 Monday in Seattle. Joining us now from England, maybe the one person who has called the most soccer matches from Lumen Field, that being the one and only Ross Fletcher, former voice of the Sounders. Arrow, he's actually been calling soccer matches since he was 14 years old. Yeah, he knows the beautiful game very well. First off, Ross, thanks for taking time out of your vacay in England for joining us.
It's great to see you guys. I timed this vacation terribly. First time Seattle gets the World Cup and I've run away. But hey, I'm glad Seattle gets to enjoy what's been an amazing tournament so far, right?
Yeah, it has been absolutely incredible. Blue skies in England. Nice to see that as well. And Ross, let's begin with yesterday. How big was that win for the U.S.?
I mean, gigantic, right, Chris? Only the second time, let's put it in context, that the U.S. have ever won a knockout match at a FIFA World Cup. So seismic, but also because of the occasion, because this is a home World Cup, because it matters more because of that. Let's get a nation swept up on home country soccer glory. So every match really critical for the US, from my point as well as a soccer lover, to grow the game in our great country and in Seattle even further. For them to get that win, to get the shutout, and like you guys said a little bit earlier, doing it with 10 men for half an hour as well, it's just going to give that team a little bit more belief. Every game as it comes, they keep marching on. It's fantastic.
Yeah, we have to get to that elephant in the room. First of all, was that red card deserved? And how do you see the team rebounding from it?
No, it's so funny. What a great question, Errol, because the British commentators thought it was a straight red card. And I initially thought so as well, looking at the early replay. But then you come to understand that this was an accidental contact by Balogun. He wasn't looking at the play. He wasn't intending to foul the guy. It was that accidental mix-up. And I think the telling thing for me was after the red card was shown on the VAR, that Sead Kolasinac, the Bosnia captain, went over to Balogun, gave him a little bit of a bear hug and said some words to him, which I think were, hey, buddy, that was unfortunate. And even the Bosnian guys didn't really feel that that was warranted. But the reaction was fantastic from them. Now they're going to have to go without their leading scorer. 3 goals already in this tournament for Balogun. He was starting to show his true credentials as that leading number 9. They'll bring Ricardo Pepi in probably to cover for him, but he hasn't scored an international goal for nearly 18 months. Yet I think it's that riding the wave of momentum for the US, next man up mentality, and that is really what has carried them in World Cups past.
Yeah, and moving forward, Belgium looks like, on paper, a pretty good matchup. I saw them in person yesterday. I think that the U.S. personally matched up pretty well against them. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I was watching that Belgium-Senegal game until I fell asleep at about 1:30 a.m. UK time, and it was 2-2. And Senegal looked for the large majority of that game. Like, they've done a number on Belgium. They had that golden generation, 10, 12 years ago, and have been kind of hanging on to it with Kevin De Bruyne, Thibaut Courtois in goal. Obviously, Doku has come through, the Manchester City midfielder, as an emerging talent, but they were flat. They didn't look like they had a great pattern of play, and they were largely out of ideas. And I think the energy, the athleticism of the US, and how well Pochettino has them organized could be a really good matchup. And like we've been saying all along, that home advantage, I think, is really going to count for them. And Seattle, it's going to go lifting the roof off if they can get a strong start, for sure.
No, you're right, Ross. The place is going to be going wild on Monday. You're in England right now, so I want you to paint the picture from afar for us. We're in Seattle. We're hearing this city is getting rave reviews for its World Cup presentation. What are you seeing and hearing from afar about Seattle and how the World Cup's going here?
Yeah, I've got a few mates over here who are asking me all about it, and they cannot quite believe some of the scenes from Seattle. And I've told them all along, I moved to Seattle in 2012. It is a genuine soccer city, and anyone that takes a look at the waterfront as you see here, or goes down to Pioneer Square, or checks out what's going on at the Space Needle, will know that there's a real fervor around the city. And I think people are changing some perceptions from what they might have felt coming into the World Cup about, is it going to be worth it? Are the ticket prices too high? What about my visa? All the stuff that happens before a World Cup, that largely gets forgotten when you see scenes like this going on. And I think there's almost a little bit of jealousy that people, I mean, I'm jealous as well. I'm in the wrong place right now. You know, that you want to get back out there and be part of this party that is going on probably for, you know, a month plus, even when the games leave Seattle from a live game perspective. I think people still want to come down and soak up the fan viewing areas and continue to have a great time. I think it's really shown out to the rest of the world.
Yeah, it's not even just about being inside, right? It's about being just a part of the party, and the vibes are just immaculate. So I know you've been with the Sounders, the Kraken. You've covered some big events in Seattle. How big will Monday be?
Oh, it's going to be absolutely immense. I mean, I went to the 2018 World Cup and covered that for about 6 weeks in Russia. And it's kind of similar questions about how big are these occasions. And every game over there, thousands of traveling fans. So you're going to get that flavor from the Belgian fans, as we've already seen, of course, in Seattle. But it's the US fans. I went down to the waterfront. You probably were there as well when, you know, Marshawn Lynch was doing a stage show in the build-up to the first US game in town. And I never felt anything like it. As an adopted Seattleite, I was just incredibly proud. It's the shivers down your spine. It's realizing there's a whole country coming together in our city for one day to try and create a piece of history. Look, the US has only been to a quarterfinal of the World Cup once in 2002. They've got a couple more games to try and do that. And I think a whole nation will be watching Seattle. The noise is going to be incredible. And you think back to Clint Dempsey joining Seattle in 2014. A large part of that reason was because he came and played a U.S. game against Panama and said to his teammates, hey, what is this city? It's off the chain. I wish I could come play here for my team one day and be a Sounders player. And that happened. And it was purely because of the vibes of Seattle and the way the crowd were able to really get into it and prove that this city belonged on the world stage. And I think we're going to see that again.
That's a great story. It's so true. Thank you, Ross. I love that. Hey, growing up in Puyallup, you know, on my walls, I had a Ken Griffey Jr. poster, Steve Largent poster, Sean Kemp, Gary Payton. You probably had a David Beckham poster growing up. Tell me about this World Cup and the storylines. Messi, Mbappe, Ronaldo. I mean, it's just, this World Cup is getting big ratings because the big stars are delivering.
Oh, 100%. But most importantly, I actually had a Sean Kemp poster on my wall when I was a 16-year-old. But that's
baby!
Yeah. That is a story for like several beers, and it's too boring for the audience right now. So I'll address your actual question. And it's great, isn't it, guys, that the stars have really come out, that they're all trying to vie for the golden boot, that Messi is proving at, 38, 39, that he's still got the golden touch. Kylian Mbappe there. He's got this triumvirate, the three, him, Michael Olise, Ousmane Dembele, have been sensational for France, and they just swept Sweden away on a tidal wave of terrific soccer. And then, you know, Ronaldo is showing up. Is this going to be a surprising last swan song for him? Because he faced some early criticism that he wasn't a team player, and maybe he still isn't. But against Uzbekistan, knocked in a couple of goals, and you saw the relief on his face when he said, I am back. But it's raising the stakes, and it's turning this into a classic World Cup. You want those tournaments where the stars come out to play, and they're really doing that at this World Cup. And it's fantastic that we're going to see plenty more opportunities, I think, of all of them, including Messi, to try and take Argentina back to, back-to-back World Cup successes.
In some other bigger storylines of the World Cup, I mean, you've touched on the fervor here stateside. But what about Mexico, Canada, U.S., all moving on to the round of 16?
Yeah, in any World Cup, you want your home nation to do well, because that just continues the joy. And I think it continues the vibe that a country stays in there where they want to be part of it, right? And of course, here you've got a three-headed home situation where all three, USA, like you say, Canada, and Mexico are in. And for me, England against Mexico, that is going to be a tremendous game. It's kind of got shades for me of 1986. I'm aging myself a little bit, but you'll be fine, Egan. You were, 30 at that time? England lost to Argentina in a hand of God situation where Maradona, the Argentine legend, scored with a gigantic handball that we've never lived down in the Azteca Stadium. So England are going back into the Azteca in the altitude against Mexico, again, a nation where they live or die for this sport. So I think the stakes are only going to get higher, and it's just drawing people in game by game, and it's fantastic for the sport.
I want to clarify, I was 13 back then, but Ross, are you and the English fans concerned at all that the Mexican fans may go to their hotel and keep them up on Saturday night?
Oh, it's a given. It's an absolute given, Chris. It's just kind of the fun and games of international sport, and it happens in other sports as well, right? But I will imagine that they have got triple earplugs. That they're probably slamming mattresses up against the walls as well as on their beds to try and dampen any sound. But yeah, the FIFA hotels, it's not that hard to find which ones the teams are staying at. So I imagine there'll be some fun and games there as well as the altitude.
Speaking of fun and games, this U.S. riot has been a lot of fun, and I know every coach and a lot of fans are going to say, let's take it one game at a time, but this is what we do, Ross. You know, we look ahead. If the U.S. gets by Belgium, they're in uncharted waters. How good is this team, and could they make a deep run and possibly pull off the upsets of upsets there, you know, with 8 teams to go?
You know, I've said this a couple of weeks ago, Chris, you dare to dream. And in a World Cup, once you start getting momentum, you can keep rolling on. It's possible that they could go deep. And I look back to 2002. If they get past this Belgium team on Monday, then they're into the quarterfinals. The big problem there is Spain, which is likely to be the quarterfinal opponent. But I said 2002, South Korea, the hosts there with Japan. South Korea weren't expected to do much, if anything, and they got to the semifinals. So it's possible they can make a deep run. Look, Spain didn't start this tournament terrifically well. They're not through yet. They got to play later on today. But if they do get through, that will be an incredibly hard task for the US. But never look too far ahead. Beat the opposition in front of you. Get it done against Belgium, and just keep enjoying the moment, guys. Keep enjoying it.
Well, we're also going to enjoy a possible wedding tomorrow. And Errol and I, we love chaos. We love culture. And I just want to know how the English media are handling this rumored wedding between Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Is it the talk of the pubs there in England right now?
Well, I was looking at the Sun, the Daily Mirror, and the Daily Mail today, and at least the print editions do not have much, if anything, about the wedding, unfortunately. Look, if it was Harry Kane getting married to Taylor Swift, then maybe there would be some back page headlines.
Or what about Harry Styles getting married?
Harry Styles
with
even.
Olivia, with Olivia Munn.
That would probably get us going over here a little bit more. But no, all eyes on the round ball football, I think, for now, rather than any weddings at Madison Square. Apart from my wife, she's really into it, apparently, Taylor Swift. So if you want any intel on that, I could get her on the Zoom, and she could be far more interesting than me on Taylor and Travis.
Hey, we would love that, but Ross, we love you. Thank you so much. Enjoy your time in England. Good luck to England against Mexico on Sunday. We love your insight on soccer. It's always great having you on the show. Thank you, buddy.
Great to see you guys. Thanks very much.
Thanks so much. And real quick, Chris, before I start any rumors, I meant Olivia Wilde, not Olivia Munn, by the way. Harry Styles, Olivia Wilde, did not want to start some rumors overseas.
I didn't know either. Don't worry, it happens.
that could have been a riot from over the pond.
It was, meanwhile, well over my head, so I just went with it. All right.